Hey guys, what's going on? This story right here is based on a true story, and unfortunately, it has to do with a lot of things that are going on right now. Not a lot of good things, anyway. It's terrible to say, but it's the world we live in now. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you. It's called Epidemic. Not sure if I like the name, but I might change it. But for now, it's Epidemic. Anyway, starts out in the 90s. Young kid named Anthony, growing up with a tough family. His family is tough, men and women, who make Anthony as they are. Tough in body and mind, never to take even a bad look from anybody. Now, what Anthony's childhood consists of is working out, playing sports, and doing good in school. But as far as sports goes, he is one of a kind in baseball and football. And not only himself thinking about going pro, most people think he has what it takes to go pro. Now, Anthony grows up in the inner city of Connecticut, where, as of him fighting a lot, not because he wants to, but is because other people picking on him, one day he comes home from kindergarten and tells his mother that a fifth grader was picking on him. Anthony's mother did not let him in the house until he went outside and fought the much older, stronger boy. It was not about win or lose, it was about balls and the willing and getting some respect for himself. His mother also knew that there would be more people to mess with Anthony in the future, so she was getting him prepared, and she was right, because ever since that day, there's been numerous fights with other people looking to pick on Anthony, whether it was his good looks or good nature. He fought two brothers at the same time. He was fighting at recess a lot. Over a period of a couple years, more fights continued. There was a few fights in the school bathroom, on the school bus. Anyway, Anthony is still playing sports and is doing very well in school despite the distractions. Now, Anthony's parents were never together or married. They were young, both still in his life as of aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, a traditional Italian family. Taking to mind all this. They're a traditional, old-school Italian family. Uncles and grandfathers, very tough guys. Nobody messed around with them. Anthony was very fortunate to have these role models in his life. Very fortunate, as he looked up to them. As he should, because they were good men. Tough as nails. Now comes around to about 1996. And that is when one of the worst pain pill epidemics started to make way. Doctors were just handing these things out to get paid by big pharmaceutical companies, not knowing it was going to be life-changing for people. And if they did, they didn't care. It was nothing more than money, like your average drug dealer, pretty much. So now, even as a kid, Anthony could see these things changing. People are acting different. And not long later, the doctors get at his mother and father. Both. Everybody knows drugs go from people to people by word of mouth or whatever it is. Or by doctors. The father was actually hurt. He was hurt in an accident at work, but the mother was not hurt. Anthony watched the doctors give both parents whatever they wanted, enough to take out an elephant. Oxycodone, Oxycontin, morphine, Dilaudid, the list goes on. Fentanyl. His aunt also. When she would go on vacation, she needed just a suitcase, just for her prescriptions. That's how bad it was. Of course, they got addicted, so it doesn't take much. People stopped being themselves, looking different. Also, Anthony's mother nodding off everywhere, burning cigarette holes in the carpet, not being able to function without these pills. Young Anthony sees this firsthand and does not like it, but there is nothing he can do. It's out of his hands. Only thing he can is keep doing what he is doing. Playing baseball, playing ball, and focusing on school. Mother and father both get into the dealing part of it also. A little bit, which they see makes them a good amount of money. Anthony also picks up on that. Parents try to do what they can to keep it away from kids, but kids are not stupid. And Anthony was definitely not stupid. Anthony's getting way older and is very observant. Not soon after things go south and Anthony goes to his grandparents' house to live because it gets out of control with his mother. It is a good thing because his grandparents are good people and mean almost everything to him. Even though everything is good with his grandparents, it's not long where he can see parents getting even worse now, and it bothers him. Years go on with no changes. Only Anthony's getting older now and needs money of his own. So now, with going to school and playing sports, he gets a job. He is pretty much in high school now and has a lot of friends, girlfriends, a lot of distractions of a young, good-looking, smart man. He needs money for school clothes and things like taking girls to the movies, and he will need a car very soon, which was a huge thing to him that he wanted. Nobody would give to him though. He had to go out and get it himself, and he knew that. So he works doing some landscaping. He works in a couple restaurants, a pizza joint, but that money he knew wasn't enough. He tried to stick it out, but was not what he wanted. Hard work, but he was a hard worker. And he made some connections along the way. So he realized a lot of people starting to smoke marijuana and drink alcohol at his age. So he got into the marijuana business. Got with everyone who was smoking at the time. Other schools around the way, even teachers would buy from him. Anthony got known to have great products and was making a lot of money to where he was always dressed to a T. The marijuana business brought him whatever he wanted at the time, and as far as clothes, food, and a nice new Mercedes Benz. Which is always nice. Anthony was always dressed nice as a kid and believed in physical appearance that came from his family, who were the same. Wow, that car's driving a little too fast. Take it easy over there. You're gonna hurt somebody or hurt yourself. Now what comes with all of this, what comes with all this is jealousy, envy, whatever you want to call it. It's a terrible thing, and it's just out there, and people are jealous even when you do right by them, regardless of what it is. I don't know what people's problems are, but there's jealous people from other people, and problems are starting. But remember, Anthony is a tough kid. He's tough as they come. He started not to think so clearly, though. He started letting things get to his head. He's letting house parties get involved. He's letting girls. The money's great, so he's not really thinking too clearly. He's thinking things are too sweet, and but he knows also to stay on point too. He stopped thinking about what was important, though. like school and sports, which people had high hopes. Meanwhile, you have stick-up kids who want what you have. You have the cops looking into you any chance they get. All the time in the meantime of a couple good years, now it would be junior year of high school, a critical point for your life of sports and school career. Car's driving by me crazy again, dude. Jeez. Critical point in your life of sports and school career. Anthony gets caught up with a drug deal gone wrong over a couple words and a misunderstanding. Tempers get heated, and Anthony beats this guy very bad that came at him. He beat him up pretty bad. Another 2 local gangs tried to rob Anthony a few weeks later for 5 pounds of marijuana, but Anthony beat both of them up. Dragged one of them out the car. And almost ran the other kid over. Sorry, this car is driving me nuts. He's still circling over here. I don't know why. Another time, Anthony was at a party. Kid got jealous of a girl and tried to sucker punch Anthony, and Anthony broke a vodka bottle over his face, half full. So Anthony feels things getting bad, and he knows things need to get better. But not soon later, he is stopped out of town, lost, with a lot of weed on him. The canine get brought in, and he is arrested. Gets out of jail and is in an incident with a girl he is seeing, and she says she got raped by somebody. So Anthony loses it. Goes to the kid's house named Johnny Boy and drags him out the house. Then beat him so bad he almost died. The police came and the neighbor got the license plate on video footage. Excuse me. Of what happened. He had to get Lifestar helicoptered where he almost died, but luckily didn't. Now Anthony is facing a couple very serious charges, but never snitches on anybody or anything. Police can not believe how tough this kid is. Anthony goes to jail for a little while, but ends up getting out not long later. Now he has to try and finish school and sports, and because he said nothing, he got 5 years probation. No jail sentence. Very lucky. Because of age, he was only 17 at the time. Very lucky. So he goes back to school after not being around for months. In the meantime, he gave the marijuana business to 2 of his cousins. They are and they're doing a great job. With that, the connections for the marijuana was a old neighbor of Anthony, who was a 40-year-old bachelor who lived in an apartment complex of Anthony years earlier, who took a liking to Anthony because of his visible talents and good-looking mother, probably, maybe. Anthony still talks to Javier, who is a Hispanic male. He talks to him to stay in touch and to make sure his cousins stay with work. Anthony is still trying to balance everything for himself and is doing it even though it is hard. Just as things start going accordingly, one of Anthony's trusted lieutenants knows his birthday is coming up and drags Anthony out to celebrate. They have a wonderful night out. Drinking, women. On the way home, Michael, the lieutenant, swerves on the road and the Jeep flips 3 times, where Michael suffered leg injuries. Anthony broke his collarbone, shoulder, his collarbone, messed up his shoulder, nose, and had spinal cord complications. In the meantime, they both live, and now Anthony is on painkillers, and he can see how people get addicted to them. But he remembers what his family has been through with them and tosses them away, never to take them again. He starts drinking alcohol for the pain, which he stops soon after, luckily. Now Anthony could go to school because of his... Now he can't go to school because of his injuries. And because of his injuries, there goes sports. Gone. It bothers him, but he doesn't let it keep him down. In the mix of a year and 6 months recuperation, he finishes high school. Anthony doesn't go to college because he doesn't go to college, but a lot of people he knows go to college, and he follows them up there. Now comes college, and most college kids want to party. Pills, marijuana, alcohol. Pills meaning Adderall, ecstasy, oxy, Xanax, Percocet, whatever they want it all. Now him coming out of the marijuana game, he knows this is a good business. Even better than marijuana. As far as money goes, he goes and talks to Javier. Javier wants nothing to do with it. But he said he will ask around for him with his connections. Which he does. He introduced him to a friend of his called Paulie Ortiz. And he runs a no-joke show. Whatever Anthony wanted, he could get. Down to an alcohol order. So he went to work supplying kids all over. CT, Mass, New Hampshire, Maine, New Jersey, and how he would do this is go to these different colleges and party with these kids and become friends. He would have to meet them and talk to them, so he knew these kids were no dummies. They were smart, or somewhat smart. Not to mention all the people he knew back home who were partying he was making so much money he didn't know what to do with it. He made sure everybody was happy and able to put themselves in a good position. Comes to find out, his guy was getting the pills out of Florida at the mills. They were getting Percocet out there and flown in at airports with security working for them, cops working for them. They were bringing it in on Greyhound buses, driving it in themselves. Florida was a 24-hour ride from Connecticut. Not too bad. After a few years, Florida got shut down. FBI took over DEA. You name it. Everything was pretty much over. The authorities did a good job of taking care of the pill problem, I have to say. But what do you do about everybody addicted to the goods? They are not going to stop unless they want to, and most people don't. Most people don't want to stop. In the meantime, Anthony's connection gets arrested on multiple drug charges by the federal agents. And he knows about it from hearing about it through the papers and just having a bad feeling. He knew something was off. He laid low for months, didn't talk to anyone, not even family. Would let them know he was okay, but that was it. As time went by, he went to work at a few different places just to stay occupied and got really into bodybuilding as his new sport. Hence, prior injuries, he felt good. Things were starting to look up, and he got jacked. He ate right and worked out. No alcohol, nothing. People were surprised to see him like that. He also had a superior build to most, even without weights. Now Anthony goes to work at an import-export Italian food company and likes the job. He is a good truck driver and laborer, using muscles there also, so it was like a workout. Friendly with a couple Mexican guys. He gets friendly with a couple Mexican guys who were very tough guys themselves, and they took a liking to Anthony. I guess because they felt like they had something in common. And Anthony also showed them respect. like he does everyone. Otherwise, he believed they appreciated the respect he showed them over a period of about a year of working with these guys. Jose and Miguel is also seeing it. Is also seeing it. I'm also seeing a change in the. He's also seeing a change in the neighborhood. Sorry, guys, my allergies are killing me out here, and this is my rough draft. I wrote a little messed up. That's bad when you can't figure out your own handwriting, huh? Oh well. Now Anthony's seeing a change in the neighborhood also, and people can't overcome their addictions. It's just too severe. Everybody's moving to heroin now, which is much cheaper for the same effect. Pain prescriptions are just pharmaceutical heroin, but is much safer because you know what you're getting. With heroin, you don't. A lot of deaths because of it. In the meantime of getting to know these guys, Anthony can tell they are different and somewhat like Anthony. They carry themselves different. They dress nice, they have nice vehicles, nice jewelry. But one day they are talking and Ant slips up and he tells him his past by accident of how he was a drug dealer of marijuana and pharmaceuticals. He told him about him fighting people. He's always fighting, hurting people. Their eyes lit up. Their relationship changed immediately. About a week later, Jose comes up to Anthony and asks him if he can do him a favor. He asks, I need you to pick something up for me. Excuse me. And give it to me tomorrow at work. Won't tell me what it is. So Ant tells him, no problem. He gives me the address. So later that day, Anthony goes to the address and it's a nice abandoned home. He goes around back onto the sun porch. Sorry, I got a text message. He goes onto the sun porch. Jose told him a secret compartment in the bricks on the wall. Pulled out 10 Tupperwares sealed. Threw them in a shopping bag. Put the bricks back. Threw it in his trunk in a speaker box and goes home. He didn't look into nothing. The next day he brings his stuff to work and he never told him not to look in it, but he just didn't do it. So his buddy says, thank you for doing that. Did you look inside of it? And Anthony says, no, of course not. And he could tell he's not lying. You could tell by the look in his eyes. He says, you're a good boy, Anthony. We would talk later, and walks away. So almost a week later, he grabs Anthony after work and says, come on, take a ride with me and Miguel. We will bring you back for your car. Anthony says, okay. They bring Ant to the same house, grab that stuff. The house where he grabbed that stuff before. This time they go into the house. Now when they go into Anthony's house, or the abandoned house, Anthony sees a whole lot of baking equipment, gloves, masks, and a whole lot of bad stuff. He asks, what is that? And the guy, Miguel, says millions with a smile on his face. They say fentanyl heroin. He says, this is the future. then tells Anthony no one will die from this unless they mix other things in it, like Xanax or other things. You got to mix it properly. Otherwise, you're going to kill somebody. He proceeds to show Anthony how to cut it properly and to have really pure stuff. Then breaks a little glassine bag with stamps and stamps the bag with a Superman symbol. Puts a little bit in each bag. Tapes up 10. 10, puts a rubber band on it. And then does 4 more. And then makes it into a 5-pack. He does this until he bags up 1/8 of the powder that's there, which is a whole lot more. We're looking at kilos here. To Anthony, he gives Anthony the 1/8 that he bags up, and he says, "Here, this is for you, move it." And Anthony told him quite a few times, "No, I'm not doing that. I don't want no part of it." And he took it very offensively. Anthony could see that. So Anthony finally gives in and says, okay. He told him what it goes for singles, 5 at a time, and so on and so forth, of large quantities. He said, bring me what you have when it's done.